Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about tires again. This time I think I got it figured out. So Christmas time we were hosting a party and I always like to get a couple cars out, program them, one for each lane, and then set the speed so that they can just barely wreck. So I picked a bunch of these up, and once again the tires, were melting because I haven't used them in a little bit. So in the front, I've been using the AliExpress tires that I talked about earlier, 132. They're very flexible and they'll stretch over. In the back, I've been using a lot of Paul Gage tires. In fact, I think I've spent more on Paul Gage tires than I spent on my first Torino back in the 80s. So that's kind of strange. But the fronts are going bad now. All the fronts are melting. So you can look at these. They're completely dried, unflexible. You can see they're starting to crack. So I need to replace these. I'll use the AliExpress on that. But you don't always have that option. And it's been perplexing me for a while why the biggest slot car company in the world would create such terrible tires. Look at these. I mean, they're cracking. And then they get these flat spots on them. Sometimes they ooze and they drip off your car. I had some laying on their side like this. When I picked them up, they had bulged out in the middle. So you're going to need to come up with a tire solution, and I've given you some solutions to save you some money. The AliExpress tires are dirt cheap, and they're good for fronts or rears if they'll fit good enough. So I've come up with a good solution for scratch building 125th scale kits. So these fit in the back pretty nice. On the front of this, I have the 128 AliExpress tires. They just fit really good. They look correct for the size and for the style. And I got them from this kit. This was a quick build kit from Airfix. It doesn't list a scale, but it's actually 125th. And I bought it to study how they broke the parts down. And I contacted Airfix's spares department, and they sold me 10 sets of these tires. Stretch Torino frame. You can see right there where I cut the piece out of the middle, right there. And it's a stretch Torino frame, but those tires fit in there really, really good. The front are the 128 AliExpress tires. That one's kind of a little bit wobbly. Yep, 128 AliExpress tires. And the decals I got from Mike's Decals. I got to put some on the front. But this car, I'm going to show you some footage of it running. It does. So here it is. Initial testing, it did, kind of okay. But my track is weird because it's got these dips in it, and cars will go airborne if they do not have magnets on the front. So you can see early on with first couple, it just barely drifted down the hill, and a lot of times I couldn't even make it around the curve because it would come out of the seat. So I did a little work on it to stop this from happening, and I got better lap times, tweaked it a little bit, but not really much. I don't even think I cleaned the tires off of that. But once I got it down, see there you can see it just barely going down the hill, clunks right into the wall. But I took it off then, and I put a magnet right there. Just put a couple screws in it and put a magnet right up there to try to keep the guide slot in. And then once I did that, my lap times improved a lot. And it didn't rub, but it gave it a little bit of downforce at the beginning. So here it goes, and I got a best lap time of 9:74. It's right in there where I want it to be. It's not, full speed the whole time, impossible to wreck. But it's fun to cruise around in, and it'll go out. It will still pop out and slam into the wall, but not all the time. So you have to sort of, run around. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the Airfix tires, and I'm only going to use them on the rear. So I'm just going to use them on the rear, and I'm going to put the 128s on the front. So I got enough to do 20 cars. I wanted to show you one other thing. I forgot to mention this. So you see the tires on the back of here? Back in, I don't know what year it would have been. My son was about 12 or 13. I got him a Scalextric starter track so he could see if he liked slot car racing. And one of the things I picked up was a tune-up kit, which included like a spare motor, some guides, and a whole bunch of these, which are spare rims and then tires matching them. So I sorted them out by these Ziploc bags the other day. And these are like 25 years old. The yellow on the rims, the plastic on the rims has yellowed from age, right? But the tires are still perfectly good. You can put them on and they'll run. So, so I've come up with some solutions for different things, and so clearly Scalextric makes a superior tire. Pioneer makes a superior tire. And mainly because of their longevity. The problem with the Carrera is the gradual degradation, which means that you can't really have a expectation of how your car is going to run. Check this out. On the back of this thing, I'm running Legos. That's right, Legos. These things smoke, and they're a couple cents a piece. So yeah, Lego tires. Back of this, I tried it out, Legos. These are actually the rims that came with those AMT kits. The Legos strap over top of them. They hang out a little bit. You got to put a hub in there. But if you have those AMT kits and you want to put some big meaty tires on the back of them, get yourself some Lego tires. I said before, there's a website called Brick Owl that I used, and they were unbelievably cheap. But yeah, they're good tires. Much better than the melty ones. So how did we get here? Well, here's a couple of theories that I've come up with. Number one, the company is unaware of it. I really have a hard time believing this because there are so many forums, so much feedback from the internet and things like that. They've got to be aware of it, so I don't think that this is a possibility. Now, there's another possibility, which is my second theory here, and that is that they have a contractual obligation to use this tire manufacturer, similar to the way Parnelli Jones used Firestones, and I think they blamed that for his loss in the championship. Now, this is an old Scalextric and a new Carrera. Unbelievable difference. So another possible theory is maybe that Carrera just wants to help support cottage industries because there's an entire cottage industry of people making aftermarket tires. But this is what I think. I think it's an intentional business plan, and I'm going to reflect this back to wargaming. In wargaming, the strategy for Games Workshop is you make a product in January, then you make a product in March that has a dragon in it. It kills the product that you sold in January, and then about May, you're making a dragon with 2 heads, and then July he's got 4 heads. About a year down the road he's got 30 heads, and your entire game is wiped out. But the point is that everything new beats everything old, and they do that intentionally. So what about slot cars? So what if you go to your shop and you buy a nice new slot car, and you want to go to your friend's house or go home and race it? You want it to perform really well, and in my experience, if you get a fresh set of tires on a new car, that thing runs. It'll beat Paul Gage hands down. So then the customer is very happy. His nice new car can run really, really good on the track. And it is a good customer experience for that person. They're happy with their purchase. They're not going to have any kind of regret. If you sold somebody a car and it finished 4 laps down his first couple races, they're not going to be happy. This way, the nice new car is going to do really well. So it relates back to the wargaming thing, but it's done with tire disintegration. So how do I feel about this? In a way, it's good customer service because you're really helping out, people that are buying cars and racing, and it works pretty good. I'm not thrilled about it. I've been whining incessantly for years, even though I'm a pretty avid hobbyist and have spent a lot of money on Carrera. I really did want to buy the Hendricks NASCAR cars and collect all the NASCARs, but then I got to thinking, we got the whole tire problem. So I haven't bought them yet. I do buy Carrera right now for parts for my scratch builds. But I don't think the problem's going to be fixed because I don't think it's a problem. I think it's an intentional design because it would be so easy to fix. There is companies in China right now, reproducing the T-Jet tires. There's just call up Scalextric and say, who's your rubber supplier? So I think it is an intentional design feature. It is what it is. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys.